Guess who's back? Back again. EP40's back. Tell a friend. Welcome to the line change. In this video, we're going to be asking the question. I'm going to be posing the question to you guys. Is EP40 back to form? Now, I don't want to go too far with this, as it's only been a few games that he's played well and produced points. He does have 3 goals in his last 4 and 4 points in his last 5. So that's why we're doing this video. And yeah, EP40 is starting to heat up again. He's starting to look confident. His confidence is slowly coming back. He's starting to look like the PD of old. And we're going to break it all down here on the line change. Obviously, some people are still skeptical about whether or not he is for sure back. And I know people have been saying this, whenever he's had a good game, essentially. Oh, this has been PD's best game of the season. This has been PD's best game of the season. This is the best he's looked. All those other times that's been said, you can take that with a grain of salt, but I can explicitly say the game against Calgary was, in fact, the best game he has played up until now. Obviously, first 2 periods, he wasn't all that noticeable. He was just, I would say, average in the first 2 periods. But that third period, he really came alive in that third and got that game-tying goal. That was a huge moment for him. And you could even see the look on his face after he scored and the emotion from him after he scored, the pouncing on that rebound from the initial shot from Mancini. And you saw him even point to Mancini and saw him say, "Let's go." And that was just really great to see from Elias, and just seeing that emotion on his face. EP40 is not known to be that much of a celebration guy. Everyone knows the king when it comes to celebrations is Connor Garland. He's one with the incredible celebrations and big fist pumps and whatnot. He's more so known to be that guy. Pettersson is not. He's more recluse, keeps to himself, but seeing that emotion come across his face was great to see. We're going to look at his stats a little bit. So through 59 games, Elias Pettersson is at 14 goals, 25 assists, 39 points. He is, as of now, this could change depending on the remaining 17 games left in the season. And again, this is just a projection from Elite Prospects. He's projected to finish the season with 18 goals and 32 assists, 50 points. Obviously, you look at that 50-point projection, not ideal for a player who's paid $11.6 million. No, let me get this clear. This isn't a negative video. I'm not trying to be negative with Pettersson. No, this is meant to be positive. And especially with the title of this video, him being back to form. But to answer the question myself, is he back to form? Not quite, but he's on the right track to getting back to form. And it's just great to see him starting to produce more, seeing him move his feet, which is something we've talked a lot about over the course of the season with Pettersson. Rick Tocchet has mentioned in post-game pressers that Elias needs to move his feet, and he's been doing that the last few games. He's been moving his feet. He's been showing some hands. I believe there was a play in the Canucks' defense zone where he showcased some of those hands, stripping a Calgary player. I don't remember the exact player, but watching him, he stripped them out the puck with some nice hands. I want to see more of that in the offensive zone, obviously, but just to see him showcasing those hands, even with them in the defensive zone, was a plus to see. It was a positive. It was a step in the right direction for Pettersson. And as I mentioned, obviously 50 points to end the season is not ideal for a guy who's put up 102 points, followed by an 89-point season. And his lowest we talked about in a previous video was 68, I believe. We're not going to count the pandemic shortened season. That doesn't count. He got 21 points that season, but that was a shortened season. We're going to forego that. Prior to that, his first season, he had 66 points. We're going to forego that as well. That was his rookie season. And that was prior to him signing that $11.6 million contract. He was just getting his footing in the NHL. Although his second season, he did put up the same amount of points that in his rookie season. So he essentially matched it. In his second season, he played 68 games in that second season. Yeah, we're going to keep looking here. And then, he erupted in 2021, 2022 with 68 points in 80 games played. He showed that he is at least a 30 goal scorer that season. And then he followed it up with that 102 point season where he scored almost 40. And then obviously last season, he was absolutely tearing it up in the first half of the season. And then everyone knows after the All-Star break, he took a massive dip, and it took him until now to really find his game again. And everyone's obviously come to the conclusion now that it was a confidence issue. Yes, there was the JT Miller drama, but that is out the window now. It's not people are still talking about it now. And actually, even today, for some reason, it's been brought up. Just let it go. Bury it. It's over. It's done. JT's with the Rangers now. Forget it. Let's just focus on Pettersson and just being happy that he's starting to look like the old PD again. And let's hope that he can continue this for the remainder of the season for these next 17. You even heard after the game against Calgary, Quinn Hughes went to bat for Elias Pettersson. He even said, and this is a somewhat of a quote, not a complete quote, but he basically said, PD's been through a lot of crap this year. And it's nice to see him, turn things around, start producing. And yeah, so Quinn Hughes clearly has Elias Pettersson's back and is very supportive of him. And that's something you want in a leader, which Quinn Hughes is. Obviously, he's the captain. And you even saw when they asked Pettersson after the game on Hughes' comments, you saw a smile on his face, something we haven't really seen in a post-game presser with Pettersson. Obviously, the Canucks it was a big win for the Canucks. Obviously, Pettersson was happy. He had scored the game-tying goal. He had gotten an assist earlier in the game. Obviously, this had been his first multi-point game since the Christmas break, which, yeah, that's kind of hard to say out loud that it had been that long since as we're in March now, and this was the first time he had gotten a multi-point game. But again, this is meant to be positive. I don't want to be negative with this video. Yes, have I put out videos previously that kind of ripped into Pettersson and his play? But that was just frustration on my part, and as well as the rest of the fan base. We've been frustrated with Pettersson, and he's starting to turn things around, as I keep saying, and he's not fully back to form, but he's getting there. And it is great to see. Obviously, now the question goes to how is he going to look for the remainder of the season, the last 17 games. Obviously, the Canucks play tomorrow against Chicago. So all eyeballs are going to be on Pettersson tomorrow, as well as for the remainder of the season. And it looks like he's not hurt. So hopefully, regardless of what happens, whether or not the Canucks make the playoffs or not, or what, but hopefully this right now that Pettersson's showing continue on into next season. And he can wash all of this away and just crumple it all up into a ball and just Kobe it into a garbage can. And he can come back and he can show that he can still be that 102-point player that he is a first line center, and that the Canucks made a good decision to pick him over JT Miller. Obviously, they're still going to have that question on, regardless of if the Canucks make the playoffs or not, if they're still going to keep him past July 1st. That question is still out there. If, as everyone knows, his no move clause kicks in on July 1st. So could he still be traded prior to that? And will him showing that he's on his way back to form, will that possibly change things when it comes to the Canucks' decision on if they're still thinking of trading him? Or have the Canucks change their mind and are like, okay, we can't afford to lose this guy. Yes, he had a down year, but we believe in him and we believe he can get back to the player that he was. And we can't risk trading him and then having him tear it up with whatever team that he ends up getting traded to. Plus, the Canucks still need a second line center. That's going to be their main focus during the offseason, regardless of how the rest of the season goes. That's their priority in the offseason. And the last thing they want is to have to find a 1C if they were to trade Pettersson. That would be just another thing on their list of things to do in the offseason. And they already need that second line center. They're likely going to have to look for at least one more forward. So that second line center and maybe another forward, depending on what happens with Brock Besser. So they're going to have a lot to do in the offseason. And if they were to trade Pettersson, it would add to that. So I don't think, I'm going to go ahead and say it now on this podcast, March 14th, 2025. I don't think they trade Elias Pettersson before July 1st. I think they're keeping him. They're going to keep him for the long haul. And I think next season, Elias Pettersson will officially be back to form. So that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit and pose that question to you guys. Do you think Elias Pettersson is back to form, or if he's on the path to being back on form? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to The Line Change and would like to keep up to date on all things Canucks and all things related to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you want to be notified every single time we upload a video, go ahead and click that bell. You will get notified every time we upload a video. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.